Other news now, there is a growing effort to encourage first responders to take better care of their mental and emotional health.
It's driven in part by a couple who work for the King County Sheriff's Office who are using their experience to help others. Ted Land joins us now with more. Ted.
Well, more and more police, firefighters, paramedics, dispatchers, even all first responders are realizing they cannot just hold it all in. They cannot just power through the stresses of their careers, all of the troubling things they see and hear on the job. And they're now having honest conversations about how to take care of themselves and the public.
About a decade ago, Sean Thomas, a deputy with the King County Sheriff's Office, started helping her peers overcome the stress of their jobs. Addiction, PTSD, marital problems. She was alarmed by what others grappled with.
So that was kind of the eye-opener. And then in 2015, my husband, who is also a deputy with the King County Sheriff's Office, was coping with alcohol. And he realized that he needed help.
I was able to get the help that I needed, and we just became interested in trying to get everybody else the help they need if they need it.
At that time, I realized if he is a first responder and I'm a first responder and we don't know where to get help, there's got to be several other people out there.
That's how first responder conferences started. The Thomases and others in their line of work organized a gathering, a frank discussion about how to take better care of themselves and their families.
In this field, we've got to be tough.
This week, they're meeting in Burien, where Mike Washington, a Seattle firefighter, told his story about responding to horrifying scenes while dealing with his own emotional trauma. He was working a shift in 2008 when a Marine showed up to the fire station and delivered the news that his son, Sergeant Michael T. Washington, was killed in Afghanistan.
These are my brothers and sisters. We may not know each other's names exactly, but I am them, they are me. I'm letting a new audience know that it's okay, that someone like me who's been around a while, done a lot of things, has suffered through things, can be on the other side.
For some in this audience, which includes family members of first responders, just showing up is a first step toward recognizing that this is no ordinary job or lifestyle.
We're trying to let them know they're not alone, that there's other people that are going through the same thing that they're probably enduring.
They leave with information on treatment options, a better sense of what help is out there, and a community of others who get it.
Other cities have noticed what they're doing here in Washington with these conferences and said, hey, we'd love to have one too. So what the organizers thought would be just a single conference when they launched in 2016 has now turned into a series of nationwide gatherings in Florida, Texas, Arizona, and Idaho. There's clearly a need for a lot more conversations like these that they're having, and they say their work is not finished.
Well, it's important work that those first responders do. It's important we take care of them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ted, thank you.